Donald Trump delivered an absolutely outrageous and dangerous speech in Conway, South Carolina on Saturday. I was there talking to his supporters, full show viewers, and listeners. That segment's coming up. Everyone else, that video should be up on the channel unless you're watching this right when the video comes out. Then give it an hour or two and it will be uploaded. Those conversations with Trump supporters, wild as ever. And we have quite a few moments from this speech to go through, starting with one that's genuinely horrifying to the rest of the world, especially our NATO allies. Take a look.
They asked me that question. One of the presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills.
So they're saying that he'd encourage Russia to attack our NATO allies or do whatever they want with them. And the U.S. want to intervene if they aren't, quote unquote, paying their bills or whatever. Now, of course, he's saying this within the context of what is almost 100% a fake story and is premised on an incorrect idea about NATO. So, of course, NATO is a defensive alliance, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and Article 5 of the treaty necessitates that an attack against one member country is an attack against all of the member countries, and thus all of NATO goes to war with the country that attacked a member country. So when Trump starts advertising that the United States may not follow through on its obligations based on treaties we've signed, things can very quickly fall apart. Not to mention encouraging the attack of an ally by Russia because they're not paying enough in his mind. And that gets us to his concept of paying your bills. NATO has payment guidelines and recommendations, but it's just not the way that it works, that there's a required amount they have to pay. Otherwise, they aren't going to be a part of NATO or defended. And by the way, Trump's regular assertion that he's the reason NATO member countries started paying more is silly, given that much of NATO has been consistently increasing their contributions to NATO since 2014, before he was even president. And then here's more on this from CNN. As with much foreign policy, the Republican frontrunner radically misunderstood the nature and purpose of this relationship. NATO is not an alliance based on dues. It's the largest military bloc in history, formed to face down the Soviet threat based on the collective defense that an attack on one is an attack on all, a principle enshrined in Article 5 of NATO's founding treaty. Its purpose, which suits the U.S. profoundly. The White House invoked Article 5 after 9/11, and since NATO's creation, U.S. might has been often packaged globally as the expression of a dozen-strong consensus. NATO helps bolster the U.S.'s ebbing position as the sole hyperpower. Strip away this vast alliance and its diplomatic and economic might, and the U.S. looks quite lonely on the world stage. So some dangerous rhetoric there from Trump. Then once again, he either pretends like or accidentally says Obama's the president.
I did. And then I hear that they like Obama better. They should like Obama better. You know why? Because he didn't ask for anything. We were like the stupid country of the world, and we're not going to be the stupid country of the world any longer. We're not going to be. Got bad under this guy. So he now wants to send them $50-60 billion. I have to say.
And there were multiple instances earlier on where he clearly just had brain glitches and was accidentally calling Biden Obama, or once he said that he ran against Obama in 2016. But then since then, to justify those brain glitches, he's been saying that he does it on purpose because he thinks Obama is really calling the shot, something his supporters say to me constantly. Very, very strange. And on him going to great lengths to cover up mistakes he makes, here's him admitting that very fact.
They'll put it in, oh, did he say state? They don't have the correction. I never correct because I hate to admit I'm wrong.
Then here's him attempting to say the word floor, and it doesn't go well.
President all the time. And leaving them strewn all over the garage for under his...
And of course, it's not a Trump speech without him repeatedly, almost word for word, going through this exact same ramble he says about Xi Jinping, Putin, and others being so smart.
We're seeing like that, and there's never been an embarrassment like that in the history of our country. We've never been so embarrassed. And that's why Putin, I believe, because I know Putin very well, very smart, very sharp. They hate when I say that, you know. They say, oh, you called him President Xi of China. I say, very smart man. They ask me, is he smart? I said, well, let's go a step above that. Let's say he's a brilliant guy. The press goes, he called President Xi brilliant. Well, here's a guy controls 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. Yeah, I'd say he's smart.
It's honestly concerning how much of a loop he's on with that rant. The media says he's not smart, but I know he's smart. 1 billion people, iron fist. I wish he would love me like my father didn't. And of course, the takeaway from that rant every time is the same. He loves these authoritarian leaders and thinks they're so smart because he wishes he could beat them. That's it, essentially. And then here Trump appears to assert he's president for all time, even when he's not.
People saw those documents. They didn't see the ones we had. We had them locked up, and we had Secret Service all the time because I was president all the time.
And it's statements like that that lead to his followers outside this very rally saying stuff like this to me.
I get different answers to this. Strange, but who's the current president of the United States?
I don't know.
Do you have any options?
Yeah, the man that's in there.
And for all the mocking about Biden's mess ups on the teleprompter, here's Trump really struggling not to read the directions written for him on the teleprompter.
We can be energy independent, and we can even be energy dominant. And yes, quickly says that President Trump is saying you will be energy dominant very soon.
Oof. Ah, yes. Luke says that Trump is a confused mess. And here's Trump bragging about killing the border deal.
So on Monday, go vote. Early voting, go vote. Let's not forget that this week we also had another massive victory that every conservative should celebrate. We crushed crooked Joe Biden's disastrous open borders bill. Crushed it. Mike Johnson did a very good job, and the whole group did a great job in Congress. We crushed.
So, of course, he was directing Republican members of Congress to oppose the deal on the border, which was an open borders deal, as he said, but instead the most aggressive bill on the border in our lifetimes. But Trump and Republicans want to run on the border, some of them openly admitting that's the reason they opposed the bill. They want to make these issues as bad as possible so that they can blame Biden for them. Pretty insane. By the way, one note. At these speeches, it's super strange. As I mentioned, we were there the whole time. People are walking out of the event. I'll show videos up next to me. People will wait all day to see Trump, then just wander out midway through. I never understand. And also, as I was interviewing people, every time Trump would do that strange thing where he randomly raised his voice a bunch of decibels, you never know when he's going to do it. America's a failing nation. I'd be like, oh, the failing nation part. Okay. And let's keep talking. Oh, the Xi Jinping is everything I wish I could ever be. Part of the speech is going, which I guess is why people leave so quickly. All the speeches are the same, these same rambles over and over. But time and time again, people wait in line just so they can walk out midway through. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. You can become a member at lukebeasleyshow.com/membership.